Good evening, everyone, and welcome. We'll begin, as we always do, with the playing of our national anthem. Please rise and remove your hats. I'm sure you all recognize that one as soon as we started playing it, at least by sound, if not by name. Also, Sprach Zarathustra by Richard Strauss. This piece gained worldwide recognition when it was used in the movie 2001 A Space Odyssey, and since then it's been used in many other different forms of media, movies, commercials, almost to the point of being overdone at this point, I'd say, but it's something that everyone should recognize. Strauss was a German composer famous for operas, tone poems, and other orchestral works. The next piece we're going to do is Alexander's Ragtime Band by Irving Berlin. Berlin wrote this song in 1911 in Tin Pan Alley in New York City, and that was Tin Pan Alley was a big music publishing place at the turn of the 20th century. And this song was one of the first of his that gained international success. Ragtime was kind of a precursor to jazz. It's jazz's slightly less cool older cousin, and it was named ragtime for the syncopated rhythms, the ragged rhythms that were kind of introduced in that, and that kind of led to jazz music and the swing that a lot of us know and love. In my research for this piece, I found out that there were allegations that this melody, the main melody from this piece, was actually stolen from another ragtime musician named Scott Joplin. And Berlin went on to become a very successful, very wealthy composer, whereas Scott Joplin died penniless. And so that's kind of an unfortunate situation for him. So when we say that this was written by Irving Berlin, maybe Scott Joplin helped out a little bit as well. Either way, it's a really nice piece of music. Alexander's Ragtime Band. I should also say that this piece is a section feature for our trumpet section. We have 6 trumpets back there, all wonderful musicians, so we'll show them off a little bit with this piece. Our next piece on the program is called Cumberland Cross by a composer named Carl Stroman. Stroman composed many works for band, and this one was based on American folk music. When we were rehearsing this the other day, I thought, man, this really reminds me of something. What is it? And I finally figured out, if you know Aaron Copland's Rodeo, it uses that same American folk music, and it sounds very, very similar. So if you're thinking, that sounds like something else, that's what you're thinking of. All right, everything up to this point was a warm-up. Now we're on to the big one here. The first suite in E flat by Gustav Holst. And I'll tell you why this is a big piece, why this is an important piece. Holst was an English composer, and if you know him from anything, it's probably from his orchestra suite, or his planet suite for orchestra, particularly Mars and Jupiter. That's what he's most famous for. But he's also very important in the band world. He wrote this piece in 1909, but it didn't debut until 1920, and no one has ever really figured out why he sat on it for 11 years. That's one of the mysteries of life, I guess. But as I said, he's very important to the wind band history, and here's why. He helped establish the wind band, what we do, as a serious music-making endeavor. At the time when he was alive and writing, bands were really, they only played popular music and orchestral transcriptions, orchestra pieces rewritten for band, and no one really took bands as for serious musicians. That was just a hobby or something that amateurs do. And people like Holst said, bands can play very, very professionally as well. So he set out to write music that would help show that. And it helped that he was a band player himself. He played trombone. And so he kind of knew more about band writing for bands than most people did at the time. Another reason that he was really important was because he helped set the standard for instrumentation for writing for band. How many trumpet parts there are, for instance, how many clarinet parts, what saxophones are actually used in a band. That really wasn't standardized until Holst wrote this piece, and then other people followed his lead. Now this piece is made up of 3 movements, 3 smaller pieces within the whole work. The first one is called Chaconne, the second is an intermezzo, and those are both English folk song dances, and then finally a march at the end. Now traditionally in a multi-movement work like this, you do not clap between movements. However, if you really have to, I'm not going to stop you. Please enjoy Holst's first suite in E flat.
Here goes the second half of the concert. We're going to start off with a march. It's a march that we're not used to hearing, unless you were a college student back in the 60s, 70s, 80s. There was a man named Clifton Williams that was just a fantastic band composer. He wrote many great things. Sometime if you have nothing else to do, YouTube his name and listen to some of his work, especially Symphonic Suite. Just an absolutely beautiful piece of music that can't be worked out in one rehearsal. It takes many, many rehearsals. High school bands back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s did a lot of that. Our college bands did it. He was just a fantastic composer. He composed this particular march called March Lamar, and he did it for Lamar High School in Texas. He was a professor at the University of Texas, spent much of his time in Texas, ended up dying in Miami, Florida for some reason in 1976. It's kind of where a friend playing flute over here, Ann Beard, grew up in the area where he was composing it. And so a few of us know all about Clifton Williams. And this is one piece of music that you can work out in one rehearsal. March Lamar by Clifton Williams. seems like with requests, the next piece we're going to play, this particular piece of music comes up quite often, and we're going to do Sibelius's Finlandia. And it's always a favorite. It's been, I remember way back when I first started with city bands, they always did this, and it's a powerful, great piece of music. It's considered a tone poem. And when Ryan was mentioning about plagiarism and stuff like that, they always accused Sibelius of using Finnish folk songs. He said, absolutely not. Everything that's written, I wrote from my own mind. It was nothing that I copied. And if you've ever looked at his picture and you stare at it for a while, it's just so imposing that you would dare not believe him. So, yeah. Very powerful man, wrote 7 symphonies. His composing in Finland brought on many other Finnish composers, etc. Then, and he did many very famous works, of which none can compare to the melody that's in this. In fact, there's one section where I have a hard time keeping the tempo going because everybody just is picturing this beautiful melody and they just get into it. And so here we go. It's Finlandia. If you haven't been to any of the concerts that are going around the area with our Northern Lights Music Festival, make sure that you get out. And I know there's schedules out all over the place that you've seen. You don't want to miss the opera. They're absolutely fantastic. Even if you heard an opera singing and you say, well, I don't like that, just go and listen. You learn, and you'll, I know because I brought people that have said that, and they appreciate it after they get there. So just check the schedules. There's lots of things going on, a lot of great players from all over the world. So really lucky to have something. They take place in many different venues, so you have to check that out. Well, we're going to attempt a pretty difficult piece of music that I happen to find in the, we inherited another city band library from out the east end of the range, and we're going to do a piece called Salute to American Jazz. And it's done, this was written by a person named Sammy Nestico, I've heard it pronounced both ways. And he was actually the lead composer and arranger for the Airmen of Note. He's done many things. If you at all were ever in high school jazz bands and that, you always did something by Sammy Nestico. Had his own harmony type of thing, etc. It's just very enjoyable. You're going to hear some things that are going to, you know well, some maybe not all that well. The first one that comes up is Night in Tunisia. It's a Dizzy Gillespie thing. Came around about 1944. It goes into St. Louis Blues, and then it goes into It Don't Mean a Thing If It Ain't Got That Swing. Do up. So you get the urge to do it. It's a Duke Ellington thing that came around in 1932. Who, by the way, I have to tell this story. So this little boy from Evelyn goes and flies with his buddy down to San Francisco, and I don't know if you've ever heard of a place called the Hungry Eye. Well, these two people that probably didn't belong in a big city, I think we were like maybe 21, 22 years old, went down into this the Hungry Eye, and we walked down there. There's this fantastic trumpet player playing. I'm just, oh man! And here it was, the Dizzy Gillespie Orchestra playing. So imagine just bumping into stuff like that. Amazing. Then it goes into Birdland and Joseph Zawinul. Jazz rock, a little different kind of jazz. It's kind of a rocky thing. It's not the normal swing type of things. But Sammy Nestico is considered the Rolls Royce of arranger and composing for big bands. Still was composing in 1990. He just passed away in earlier this year. So, Salute to American Jazz. again, thank you people for coming out for these concerts. It's nice just to keep this concert in the park tradition going. It's just so much fun for us and hopefully for you. Thanks to the mayor and council of our city for keeping this going. Just very important. Such a what a beautiful venue here with the fountain going and the whole works. We have another concert next week, and then following that we do our final concert, the 6th concert of the year. And I heard rumors that there might even be some refreshments at that one. So those of you that have been around know that our friends from the Shortstop and Phil Troutwine always supply us with some pop and ice cream. In fact, I've seen them handing it out before the concert started, etc. So that'll be a couple weeks from now. Hopefully the weather continues for us. This has been fantastic. So keep praying to the person you pray to keep this going. So the weather. We're going to finish our concert with a kind of a rather unique march, and I think the most unique part about it is that two men, Keith Brion and Laura Schizzle, they're very much alive today, and they've taken John Philip Sousa and they've studied him to no end. He wrote music on paper, but then when he got to the concerts or the practice, he would say, "You're not going to do this, you're going to do that," and he went on and on and on. And these people researched and came up with a way to do them. So instead of starting the march off with a great big loud blast, it starts off soft, and the funny thing is, it ends soft. So if things work right, you'll hear it build up, and then it repeats that same part, and it keeps getting softer and softer and softer and softer until the end. Manhattan Beach by John Philip Sousa. Done. Somebody told me that, or I read someplace where he used to do multiple concerts every day in this park. That they hired him in Manhattan on the beach when the people went out to probably in the late 1800s, and they would go to the beach to relax from their busy schedule. See you again next week, Manhattan Beach.